Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. My name is KPZ, you're here on the home of the slightly above average ship review, going up the Royal Navy Battleship tech tree line. We are here in a match on Shatter in the Tier 5 tech tree battleship, Queen Elizabeth. Some interesting stats when we get into it, in many ways. As we move out here, let's go over the history. Queen Elizabeth class battleships, 5 super dreadnoughts built for the Royal Navy in the 1910s. Superior to the Iron Duke class and the Koning class. A little bit faster than the Byron class ships. And were considered the first fast battleships of the time. The first battleships in the world to be armed with 15-inch/381 millimeter guns. There's a look at the teams. We are top tier. I can tell you I'm not worried about one ship in the game, and that's the Cyclone. But we're moving out in the Queen Elizabeth really quickly. Blah, blah, blah. 2 fire control directors. I mean, that's cool and everything. The Queen Elizabeth survived the war, was broken up in 1948. During the war, looks like it took part in some important stuff. Mediterranean Sea, Pacific, replaced by the HMS Nelson as the flagship. Alright, we're still looking for somebody to shoot at, so let's talk about some key stats. Courtesy of Wiles Builds, the damage record 218,596, the base XP record 4270, the Sigma of the Queen Elizabeth 2.0, so on par with Russian destroyers. Not saying Russian destroyers have great aim, but this is the first battleship I've seen 2.0. Granted, I only started using these advanced stats in the last couple of months. Arming threshold of the armor piercing shells 63 millimeters, overmatch 27 millimeters. The Queen Elizabeth has 1.94 fires per minute. And I have my stat comparison all queued up. Instead, we're going to, I think we shot at somebody and didn't really do a whole lot of damage. Maybe I have time to give the stat comparison. 17 ships at Tier 5. Hit points, the Queen Elizabeth is number 7, 55,300. Huga is number 1, 60,700. Andrea Doria is at the bottom with 4,500. Firing range, as we're about to fire at the Kirov. Let's see how that shot goes. Oh, they look good. 2.0 Sigma, can it get it done? Nope, because he angled in at the last second. Alright, while we're working on reload, Omaha out there, going to keep that sucker in mind. We're going in between some islands here. I wouldn't necessarily advise this in a battleship, but I think I'm past the point of carrying wholeheartedly. Alright, firing range. Number 1 ship, Fuso, 16.7. Queen Elizabeth kind of in the middle, but granted, the Fuso is a big advantage over everybody else. Queen Elizabeth is tied for 6th with Mutsu, Ismail, the QE, the New Mexico, and the Byron. The bottom ship is the Weavy, 15.4. Moving on to the next part of the stats. Armor piercing DPM, the number 1 ship is the Fuso, 262,286. Queen Elizabeth kind of at the bottom, 182,400. The lowest ship is Dunkirky, 166,286. So that's not very impressive. Waiting to get some shots out here. Are we going to shoot at anybody? Kirov? Are we going to shoot at the Kirov? We're going to shoot at the Kirov. Can this 2.0 Sigma do us any good as we're capping Charlie? Can we get the Kirov? Oh, right down to the end. Right down to the end, folks. Somebody else is going to get that kill, and it hurts. Alright, we got an assisted base cap as a consolation prize. That's very nice and everything. Working on another reload. Omaha is doing a weird thing here. This other ship looks like it's going to ram the Omaha, or the Omaha is going to ram him. So we'll shoot at the Koenig. Don't know if I led him appropriately there. And we're going to try to turn in. Someone else is shooting at me from way over on the border. Our shells largely, as you can see, hit the armor belt there. There's a Fuso, so I've been talking about the Fuso. Fuso, stat-wise, at least in the numbers, very strong ship at this tier. So something to keep in mind. But there's some other ship over at the border, I think, shooting at us. A cruiser, probably. Alright, really quick back to the stats. Max AA DPS, obviously number 1, California, 594. Huge drop-off to ship number 2, the Queen Elizabeth, at 242. The lowest ship is the Mackinson with just 48. And maximum speed, Dunkirk, 29.5. Queen Elizabeth in the middle bottom, 23.5. The slowest ship is California at 20.5. That is your stat comparison, courtesy of WoW's Builds. Alright, I guess while I was talking, I citadeled the Omaha, and then I sank him, maybe. That's just a guess. I'm sorry about that. I think the stats are really important in today's game, so that's why I feel it necessary to bring them to you. We're going to be shooting at a New Mexico over there, and maybe also a Koenig, depending on how that goes. You know, the bottom line is this. You've got very accurate guns. You've got strong HE because it's a British ship. Is the Queen Elizabeth fast? No. Does the Queen Elizabeth have a tremendous armor profile for bow tanking? I would say no. Does the Queen Elizabeth have anything else? Secondaries, AA? Well, it's got relatively good AA. California is in a whole different dimension when it comes to AA at Tier 5. So at the end of the day, you're going to play this thing like a sniper, and I recommend using Cunningham. And use your accuracy to gain the advantage on the enemy ships. So there's a Fuso, which kind of surprised me with the stats. Seems like a pretty strong ship, but you can't sail broadside like that, Mr. Fuso. 4 hits, a Citadel hit, and he is hating life. You know, we punished him. And he's healing a little bit, I think, but it's not going to matter. So we're turning, giving him a little bit more of an angled profile here. And as you can see, his shells really don't do a whole lot of damage. Aim probably a little bit lacking from the Fuso captain. Salvo number 2, hoping to finish him off. And he angled away, and that led him to being killed, in my opinion. As you can see, we got 5 hits there. Up over 90 grand. Still running away from this cruiser, which is now in our backfield. None of my teammates seem very motivated to kill him. Sorry, I'm killing the important ships. The battleships. Somebody else is going to have to kill that cruiser. Sizing up in Nevada here. I should have launched my airplane. I'm too dumb to do that. And you know, really, at that point, airplane is just abusive. You might think about mounting the fighter. I mean, I don't really know if the airplane is going to do you a whole lot of good. There we unlock the Confederate medal and the high caliber medal in the same salvo. I guess if I wasn't busy reading stats, I would have known that was going on. But I can't shoot at the New Mexico. The Nevada's not necessarily giving me a great angle here. In fact, he's giving me a pretty horrible angle. So we're going to have to hit him in the superstructure to do that damage. We do launch our airplane, maybe a little bit too late. But I seriously think you could consider foregoing the airplane for more AA, especially if you're going to be dealing with an Ark Royal at this tier, you know, maybe an Independence, which could bother you a lot. Definitely the Ark Royal, though. So I think in the future I may run the fighter plane on this. Shooting into the mist, the last known location of the Nevada. The New Mexico is in the process of burning down. Haven't seen the Cyclone virtually all game. And this cruiser over here was a Pensacola. And I don't think I can get shots at him either, although I'm certainly moving the turrets to try. Yeah, he's going to go behind this island here, and I will not be able to get shots out. So that is not ideal. But it is what it is. I really wish maybe they'd show your hit percentage after the match. That'd be a cool stat, saying, hey, your main battery accuracy in this match was X%. Let's get that done, Ouija. All right, Nevada is still alive out there. There's the Cyclone.
Concentrate fire on the
As I
designated
told you
target.
in last week's video, it is a really terrible ship. So you should not necessarily be scared of a Cyclone unless you're scared of being embarrassed by being killed by one. Pensacola ducking behind the islands. I mean, I'm not saying that guy's planning that, but he's doing a pretty good job of keeping our shells off his deck. Nevada, he's given us an angle, although he's going to turn into it. So we're going to launch anticipating his turn. And an amazing grouping and dispersion, but not a whole lot of damage. I probably should have waited for just a titch longer for him to be fully broadside. We are over 100,000 damage here. Now he's given us a better broadside. Another battleship, I think, is out there messing with them. And now he's getting HE spam for the front, and our shells aren't going to get there in time. All right, so Cyclone and a Picola are left. We're turning out into the cap here just to give us a little more room, and then we're going to turn back so I don't have to turn my turrets all the way around, hoping the Pensacola is going to come out from behind the island there. But it really doesn't matter. Our team has this match well in hand. We're in the process of capturing all three bases, two of the three. There goes the Cyclone, and the Picola is over there, and we will try to shoot at him, try to line it up. There goes our salvo. We're going to put on the brakes here, I think. Oh, he's too fast. All right, we do get a solo base cap out of the deal. But at this point, the Pensacola has no chance to win the match. None. Are we going to try to put it over the island? I guess we are. All right, can we make it over the island? Do we have the trajectory? Actually, we do. And we get a hit and a couple cap defensive flags. I can't believe the trajectory was high enough to get over that mountain. Of course, now again, like the previous time here, we are not going to be able to shoot at the Picola. All right, well, at this point, I'm going to pick some stuff out of history because I think this... Oh, we shot again. Yeah, there's no chance there. He's behind the big rock. The Queen Elizabeth was damaged by mines in Italy in the Med, and then she supported Illustrious and the USS Saratoga in an attack on a place called Sabang. I am not familiar with Sabang. Supported the landing of Allied troops on Ram Re Island and Cheduba Island as part of Operation Dracula, which is in Rangoon, Burma, that area. So that's that. Anyway, the match ended. Here are the first milestones of this most recent campaign. Whoopie-doo. And the milestones keep on coming. All right. Here we are on the victory screen. 110,236 total damage. Confederate metal, high caliber metal. 42 main battery impacts. 2 kills, 2 hits to the Citadel, 2 cap defended flags, a solo base cap, and an assisted base cap. We ended up with 227,147 silver and 6,254 ship XP and commander XP in the Queen Elizabeth. Definitely a sniper archetype battleship, in my opinion. There we are at the top of the board. 2 medals, 2 big kills, 2779 base XP, almost 1,000 base XP, better than the next closest ship, the Tennessee, who had a pretty good game nonetheless. All right, let's go into the port and take a look at this ship. In terms of the upgrades, we got Aiming System Mod 1. I wouldn't recommend any other upgrade in that spot. And Damage Con Mod 2. The QE is fully upgraded here. In terms of the loadout, 3 charges of the repair party, And we're using 3 charges of the spotter plane, but I think I might change that to the catapult fighter. We're running the Epic Battle Booster for main battery range and movement speed. Fast battleship, 23.5 knots. Sure. I can't imagine what I'm sitting there for. All right, Type 9 permanent camo and the 2-year strong flag. Moving on to the specs. 55,300 hit points, 22% torpedo damage reduction with our build. Got those 4x2 381mm turrets, 18.2 kilometer firing range, 28.3 second reload, 40 second turn time. HE shells, 6,300 max damage with a 35% fire chance. AP shells, 12,540 max damage. 10 twin 114mm secondary guns, firing range 4.2 kilometers, 5 second reload. HE shells, 1,700 max damage with an 8% fire chance. I do not recommend a secondary build on this ship under any circumstances. All right, moving on to the AA defense. You can see your secondaries are dual purpose and do count as AA. They are your best and longest ranging AA, and I'm sure you already knew that. Maneuverability, 21.8 knots with our build, 680 meter turning circle, 15.1 second rudder shift time. Concealment, 13.6 on the surface, 11.4 from the air, 13.1 when firing in smoke. Are we going to look at the stats? Hey, I've never lost. That's AI. I don't know if I know it's AI. I'm like, I only did 80. All right, here's the real deal. Our best game, 120, 396 total damage, and no Krakens yet. In the big scheme of things, not very impressive. I also do not have impressive accuracy nor win rate on this ship, which is kind of embarrassing, seeing as the base XP record is so high. All right, you can look at the armor viewer there. You can see your torpedo belt appears to go over the frontal armor. You've got a below water citadel that doesn't have any wacky shapes or anything, so that's good. All right, putting the bow back on, that's what I'm talking about there. You see the torpedo belt going forward, creating a quasi-spaced armor there maybe. That's a torpedo belt, not a fore-end plating. And then it's covering an armor belt. So I would say that's probably a better defended part of the ship when it comes to getting shot into the bow. So keep that in mind. Armor belt below that, 102 to 152. Here's the rest of that torpedo belt. Very high and very long up and down the sides of the ship. Turrets and barbettes into the casemate, not as heavily armored. Typical English turret construction here. Sloped, somewhat sloped, lightly armored turret roof. The casemate continues the armor belt, but it's all covered up by this torpedo belt. So I can't really tell you anything other than to say it goes up to 330. So again, that should act as a sort of spaced armor underneath the side plating, hopefully. All right, auxiliary room, whoopee-doo. Superstructure, who cares? That's the Queen Elizabeth armor profile. Better than I thought it would be. All right, here's our commander, Andrew Cunningham. Base trait increases that shell grouping. We have D. Ravel and Azur Lane, New Jersey as our inspirations. For any kind of range build, I recommend Azur Lane, New Jersey against my own better judgment. I don't believe you should have to pay to get the best skills in this game, but that's the way it goes with wargaming. All right, flammable cannoneer in row 1, gyrating drill bits in row 2, marksmanship in row 3, reaching out XXL in row 4, and our legendary skill is fight fire with fire, which we didn't have any use for in this match. Farsight, nah. I'm sorry. I know they're going to boost Farsight or boosted it. I'm just not a buyer on that yet. Anyway, that's Queen Elizabeth, everybody. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, hit that like button. I will see you in the next video.